Is yours working, Justin?
It is, yep.
Cool. Are you live?
I should be. It says I am.
Wow.
I am. Yep.
Do you want to do the intro then?
Yep. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of TapCaf Transmissions, the Star Wars podcast. No modifier, the Star Wars podcast. If you ever hear someone talking about a Star Wars podcast, it is this one.
Especially on Reddit this week.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the last thing, the link.
Good or bad?
It was not good.
Oh yeah. That was so weird.
I was gonna say mixed.
Yeah. Dark greetings. We're joined today, Corey and I, by our good buddy Zach, who got to play Star Wars Outlaws. So we're just gonna. I figured we would do. Well, I didn't want to read. I can't read. So we figured we'd push back New Jedi Order another week, because why not at this point? We're gonna talk.
My notes are getting stale. I can only remember things for so long before I got to read it again.
Just stop learning new things. Easy.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna talk gaming generally, but I think mostly Star Wars Outlaws. Has there been any other gaming news really?
There was a release today of Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I picked it up, tried it. Unlike some of the fears with an Aspire released lately, the game works. It had what I understand are some improvements. I haven't run into any problems with it. At least problems that didn't already exist in Bounty Hunter as a game originally. I'm going to go out on a limb and say not the most fun game that has ever existed.
That's
the gunplay, not great.
Yeah. It's absolute nostalgia with that game. That's the only way people like it.
I'm playing it at the same time as Jedi Outcast, and
which is legitimately fun.
Yeah, the gunplay I don't love in Jedi Outcast, but going back to it after playing 2 hours of Bounty Hunter, I was like, okay, you're great.
The same with Dark Forces 1. Is even the gameplay in that's still fun, in my opinion.
Well, it's those boomer shooters. They hold up much better than the PS2 era of third-person shooters.
Yeah, totally. The graphics aren't so bad that it super takes you out of it. It's just funny sometimes. So I think they hold up pretty well.
Okay. So how far are you? How many missions have you done? Have you been streaming this or just?
Yeah, I was streaming it today. I've got so I think it's 6 chapters, and I've done the first 2. I did the Toydarian Ladies Station, and then I just beat Montrose on Coruscant. Okay. So things are really heating up. Django is about to be unchained.
Somebody needs to make that shirt. It probably already exists.
It's probably not great that we did.
I was playing through the I played through, I think I mentioned this, the Revenge of the Sith game, which did still hold up. And then I was playing through the Clone Wars game, and holy shit,
it fucking sucks.
It stinks. It is bad, especially the on foot sections. I was genuinely
the worst.
What is going on? This is worse than Star Fox on foot.
The worst Jedi controls in a video game.
Yeah,
I'd never played it before. Saw it was free on PS5 if you have PlayStation Plus, and they put you in the tank right away, and it's just the worst thing to control, and your partner is just driving into every enemy. Yeah, hate it.
That stinks. But those are old games. We've got new games coming up. So Star Wars Jedi Outcast. I keep saying this. Star Wars Outlaws, not Jedi Outlaws, just Outlaws, releases I think August 30th, end of this month now. And Zach has played it for what, 5 hours, Zach?
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours, okay.
Yeah.
I would say some of the best Outlaws covered on YouTube right now is on the Eckhart's Ladder channel, thanks to Zach.
Oh, thank you.
And so, guys, on Corey's channel, on the Eckhart's Ladder channel, if you have questions about the game, feel free to ask them. Obviously, we can't say a lot about story. What else can you not talk about, Zach?
Story is the main thing. There was specific missions that we couldn't talk about, but we didn't even get a big chunk of the story anyways. So it doesn't really matter. It was just the introductory missions, and then the some of it was on Kajimi too, which was already revealed.
Did you do the Sarlacc one?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing on Tatooine.
Okay.
So just to lay it out a little bit better. So Zach went and played the game for 3.5 hours. He is under NDA, so can't share certain things. Justin, you and I are not. I don't know if you know things that you're supposed to say.
I know a couple things. Like I know what a
Just
couple
from the
menus
footage
look like.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Whereas
gonna tell the story.
I have nothing,
even though it
so
might
I
get
can
me in
say
trouble.
or ask whatever I want.
Yeah, and I the only thing that I know is that there was one menu inside the screen that would have made an amazing thumbnail. Like it looked really, really good. I was like, this is gonna be our thumbnail. And then I was like looking through like the disclosure, like what like allowances, and it specifically said not to use this menu. So I like emailed the lady. I was like, listen, I will AI remove all the text. I just want to use this picture. And she was like, no. And then, like I've seen like 2 of the other preview videos that just straight up use the menu and footage.
I
anyway.
think that menu, I think I've seen people just straight up post it and talk about how great the menu is and that it should be a standard for if it's the same thing.
It's like red and orange. It's just it's a very, very visually striking menu. It would have been a phenomenal thumbnail.
I agree.
I'm actually gonna check right now to see if anyone has used it, because like my YouTuber brain was just tingling, just like when I saw the mullet and the mustache in what's it called, Jedi Survivor. I was like, that's gonna be the thumbnail. The second I played it, and the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, what are your overall impressions, Zach, coming out of your time playing it? Thumbs up or thumbs down, roughly.
Going into it, and definitely leaning more towards thumbs up right now. I think that it's a lot of fun. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, aside from the couple of gameplay demos that we've had already. Those ones looked very Red Dead, kind of a little bit of the Division in there, which this is the same developer as the Division, so that wasn't too surprising. However, when you actually play the game, it plays much different than the Division does, which was a big step up for me because that was the game that made me swear off Ubisoft releases day one, because it was just the most boring, like kill a couple enemies, and if you're a level 1 and they're a level 20, you can get off like 10 headshots on a guy and not even like dent his health bar. But this one, I said it in the video, it feels more like Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Well, we call that Republic Commando in Star Wars when it's bullet sponges.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, because I played a bit of the Division and I wasn't expecting it to be like I guess it's like an RPG shooter, you'd almost call it. Or like a leveler shooter. So I was kind of wondering, like, because they play up a lot of the in the gameplay trailer so far, they played up like a lot of the stealth mechanics, like using nicks, using the environment, and it's like, okay, I can do that, but the game has got to be difficult enough that I'm like pushed in that direction. Because if I can just win everything in a firefight, like, am I really going to bother sneaking in and like setting up the dude's backpack to explode and all these other things? You know what I mean?
Right, and that's one of the things that the game does really well, is that there are sections of the game where stealth is mandatory simply because if you're detected, like, the mission ends. Which those aren't my favorite kinds of missions, but I understand why they need to have it to fit into the continuity of the story, and it makes sense that way. But then there are certain missions, like the one where you're sneaking around on an Imperial space station, and if you get found out, every stormtrooper in the area is going to be firing on you. So that's where the difficulty comes from, rather than just like artificial like health increases and just your blaster not doing as much damage as before. But then there are the variant troopers, like the ones with ray shields that come out, where you have to like switch your blaster to the other function that it has to stun them first and then take them out.
Yeah, I don't think the gameplay is going to be as good as the comparison I'm making, but it's kind of like in The Last of Us, where
that's a good example. It's very similar to that, where the difficulty of it comes from like getting overwhelmed by a large group of enemies.
How much of what you were doing was like locked into like kind of mission after mission progression, and how much was open world exploration?
So when you start off, you can go straight to the open world stuff if you want to. There were side quests that were available, but I kind of wanted to just keep doing the main missions, just because that was where I was assuming I would get a lot of the variety in the gameplay. However, the beginning part of it, just like any other game, I'm assuming they put me right at the beginning of the game, or at least there was a tutorial mission right before that they cut out. And it does feel very open. Like as soon as I completed the first mission, I was able to hop on the speeder bike and drive around the planet that I had access to. I can't remember the name of it, but it's one of the original planets from the game. And riding around the world, you can discover just like random events that are happening. And that was one of the cooler elements of the game, was being able to just I was going from one mission to another, and I picked up a frequency that was just like there was an Imperial shipment that was stolen by some pirates. So I had to go over there, and I could intervene if I want to, sell all the equipment or just loot it all. And that's kind of the stuff that I liked about it. Was it felt a little bit like the newer Assassin's Creed games, where it felt more like you were going on a journey and you were deciding where you were going to go, rather than being like, okay, I have to go here first before I do that so I can do anything else in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. So how big were the planets? Did you like explore like end to end on any of them?
I didn't go end to end on it, but the area I was exploring was it was pretty large. But the problem I had was the speeder bike itself didn't feel like it was going as fast as it could have been. However, as I was like talking to the other creators that were there and figuring out what they were doing, a lot of them were upgrading the speeder just by playing the game itself. There's no like upgrade menu. So one of the upgrades was getting the speeder like 50 meters off the ground in one jump, or remaining in the air for a certain amount of time. And that was how you unlocked the next upgrades.
Right. Okay.
So the world itself was very open. It seemed pretty big for just the one planet I was on. Kajimi, they just had me in the one city.
How would you say it compares to like Jedi Survivor's open world planets?
I'd say the open world planets in Jedi Survivor felt a little bit more limited than they do here, but that's just because Jedi Survivor there isn't as many like side quests and like additional missions to do. There's more collectibles and other enemies.
I say compared to like Kobo or whatever, not Kobo, whatever the main was that Kobo, whatever the main planet.
I think that's right. Yep. Yeah, it's about. I'd say it's about the same size, but with more things to do.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like Jedi Survivor got a lot of time from like the Metroidvania style of unlocking, where it's like the area is not that big, but you need to come back like 6 times. Like, oh, I got the grappling hook. Oh, I got this new force power, which I don't know if this is going to have anything like that or not.
It seems like they will. As far as upgrades and everything, it seems like the game isn't going to be doing so much of the crafting system of it, but instead just naturally progressing your skills through the game.
We do have a good question. So are there skill trees? And if so, how extensive?
So I don't believe there are actual skill trees where it's like you pick certain skills as you go, but the different skills that you can unlock, you find out about them as you like there are different experts in different fields in the game, and you would have to visit them and they can teach you those abilities as you go. And when you want to upgrade them, like certain prompts in the game will come up. Like the one that I unlocked, because we only had so much time with the game and didn't have a lot of time to really perfect those skills, was the fast talk ability, where if you were stealthing through an area and an enemy saw you, you could like do the fake out, like, oh, I give up. Yeah.
Uncle John's on the Force.
Yeah. So the way you unlock it is like take out 5 enemies hand to hand, take out 5 enemies while being unseen.
So kind of like the speeder thing you were mentioning, it's basically the more almost Skyrim style of do skill to improve skill.
Exactly.
Do skill to unlock newer skill in same category.
Do skill. I can't remember what game somebody brought up as a comparison to it, but it is very much like that, where it feels more like your character itself is advancing, not just because they're filling up an XP bar. Like they are actually learning as they go. There's a fly around here.
Yeah, he's buzzing the camera. He's Vanderslooping the webcam. Okay, I got a completely different question. Who did you meet? Like, so I know you did a few interviews. Are you going to do anything with those, by the way? And who did you? What YouTubers did you meet? Like, what did you?
So
talk to?
the main YouTubers I was hanging out, I met up with somebody Battlefront Updates,
yeah.
Elliot, very cool guy, very nice. We spent he was hanging out with us for majority of the time, and then the two other Canadian YouTubers that were there was Kev Do It, who is really like, I wasn't familiar with his channel before, but he makes really great gaming content. And we hit it off really well. And then Blitzwinger, who also makes really cool gaming content. And yeah, the three of us were just kind of hanging out for most of it. And then at the event itself, we had lunch with Bruce Green and Lauren Sontag from Inside Gaming Funhouse. And yeah, they were really cool guys.
Nice. And you interviewed for 3 of them, right?
I had 3 different interviews. So originally it was supposed to be interview with the game director, the concept director, the lead writer, and there was one other position. I can't remember what it was. But then they were like, hey, do you want to interview the cast and the head of Lucasfilm Games also? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like that sounds awesome to me. And all of them were really great. The 2 cast members I got to interview were for KVS and the droid character in the game. I can't remember his name because that was not part of the sequence I played.
Yeah.
But cool. Yeah, I am planning on doing something with those interviews, though. If you want, if we have all of the full interviews, we could throw them right up on Eckhart's Ladder if you want.
Yeah, we can do something fun with them anyway.
Yeah, and then I think we posted one clip from my interview with the game director, KVS's actress, and the actor for the droid, and it's the one where maybe they let something slip that they weren't supposed to.
So go check that out on X Clips, I guess.
Yeah.
Now you're banned.
Do you have a question? Did you want me to pull one from my chat, Corey?
You can get one for your chat. Then I do have another one after.
Someone asks, what did you find the story/voice acting cringy or cheesy?
No, it was very in line with what Star Wars is. It didn't feel like I can't remember the name. I think it started with a V. There was a game that came out last year where it was like the main character was a modern day like New Yorker. You know what game I'm talking about?
Yeah, and it was like so many of like, oh, I guess we do this now, and
and I saw a lot of
powers now.
Oh yeah, I remember the trailer we saw the
or
whatever.
Yeah. Yep, that's the one. I saw a lot of people comparing it to that, and it's not like that at all. It just feels very naturally Star Wars to me. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but it was publicly revealed she's from Canto Bight too, which is like a cool little backstory for the character because we've only had such a limited look at that.
I think
that location.
Was it Forspoken? Was that the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking Valorant, but I knew that wasn't right.
Is Canto Bight one of the like full locations for the game, or is that just like a small area as part of the?
I don't think it's been revealed yet, but they did say that she is from Canto Bight, and that's a big part of her background, like how she became a scoundrel in Star Wars.
Okay.
What's he doing?
I have no idea. But
so I had to get my charger.
Well, Justin brought up the Vandersloot maneuver, so I have been interested in how much the space combat or the space element of the game is actually worked in versus just being a small like side element or an afterthought. How did that feel for any amount you got to play?
The gameplay feels more like Battlefront 2 space combat as far as controls go.
It looks like it too, even with the leading circle.
Yeah, it's very similar to that, and I wasn't expecting it to be just like Star Wars Squadrons or anything like that. But it was a lot of fun to actually play, and there was a certain mission where you had to like grab some kind of mineral from a mining facility using the ship, but you had to fight off the pirates first. So it's cool. I hope that we do get more of that from the game, where you're actually like you can find things in the space areas of the game. And yeah, those were pretty cool. Flying around outside of Kajimi was really awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff there that I don't think I can mention specifically, but it's going to be pretty awesome to actually see that when the full game comes out.
Kind of reminds me of Lego Star Wars, the new Lego Star Wars game.
It is a little bit similar to that too. I think the mechanics are a little bit more involved, but overall, and it factors into the reputation system too. So if you have like a negative reputation with the Empire, they'll start firing on you right away. If you don't, they'll just be kind of weary and suspicious of you.
So did you see any, were there any, I don't know if you can answer this, any ships larger than a fighter but like smaller than a capital, like than a Star Destroyer? Like, did you see any like blockade runners or cruisers or anything?
Nothing like that, no.
Okay. Just on the surface of the planet. I noticed a few like when you're driving around.
They're there, but I wasn't like getting involved with any battles with them.
Okay, gotcha.
So we have talked a little bit about the size of the open worlds, but like for different environments within them, do they feel like, is it just like kind of this is the open plains planet and then there's just some open plains, or are there different environments between them, and how big would those tend to be?
So the actual cities themselves, as soon as you get into the location, they restrict you from being able to pull out your blaster, so you can't like go on a killing spree in a city right away. However, it's not Grand Theft Auto. But I will say that the cities are large enough where I was getting lost walking around them for a little bit, but it was partially because there's no mini map in the game. So a lot of it is just like following the compass and figuring out where you have to go from there. But it seemed like most of the shops were accessible. It felt more like Red Dead, where you could figure out where you could go based on just like looking at the actual city itself, rather than like trying every door and being like, oh, can I get in here?
Right. Yeah. Right. Someone asks about I'm excited. So what kind of, I'm gonna screw this chat question. What sort of like activities can you do inside the city? Like I think you mentioned Sabak is one.
Yeah, so I played a few rounds of Sabak. And it's a different variation of Sabak. So it plays slightly different than the standard rules in Star Wars. I think it's called like Double Deck Sabak.
Okay.
Where, it's because Sabak is like basically blackjack with positive and negative cards. They divide the deck into two. So most of it is involved with bluffing rather than just trying to get lucky. And then the other activity I found was there's like betting stations in the game where you can look at different races that are going to happen. And
like swoops or pods, what were they?
I think they were pods, and I think the other one was it was a creature race. I don't remember specifically what it was.
Racing from Jedi Academy, eh, Corey?
Well, the betting stations were pretty cool because you could just like play it as if you were just, at an actual betting station in the real world, or there were different like codexes you could find where it would be like, hey, bet on this person because we rigged this race. Which I was really glad that there were different codex like that, because somebody else told me that they told them where specific credit stashes were found, or like combinations to different safes that were in the world, which was really awesome. I figured out what I was trying to compare the skill upgrade to. It's like in the new Doom games. You have to like do the challenges in order to upgrade your equipment.
Can you drink blue milk? Like, can you, or anything like that?
You can pet every animal I've met in the game. I know that much. So I don't see why you wouldn't be able to like go to the bar. I didn't try that actually.
Be the first thing I'll be doing. This is a niche question that someone's gonna be happy you answer. Where did it go? Basically, they were wondering, considering it's a third person game, can you switch the shoulder you're looking over?
I didn't try it, but I feel like I did it on accident at one point.
Okay. Yeah. So you mentioned going into shops. Are there like items you have been using the game, or is that just like environment stuff?
Yeah,
Like, is there an inventory that you have with different stuff in it?
So, like, do you mean like different like lockpicks or like things like that,
Do you
or
buy anything in the shops like to
yeah?
carry with you?
So there was different like there were grenades and different pieces of equipment you could buy to use on the battlefield, but I think there was a fair bit of just like random tools that you could get, and I wasn't sure what those could do because I was trying to save my credits. But at one point in the game, there was somebody who walked up to me and was like, "Hey, I just lost all of my money, but I know I'm gonna make it back real soon. So can you loan me a couple credits?" And I gave them everything I had just to see what would happen because I was like, "Ah, no loss here." So and then immediately after that, the shops all opened up to me, and I was like, "Well, now I have no credits to go buy anything."
Okay. Let's see. Do you have any questions for me you want to pull out? How's the music?
Music is really good. It doesn't rely on the on like any of the standard Star Wars motifs. Everything is pretty original.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody has heard like the main theme. That they've used it in pretty much every trailer, but it's really good.
Somebody also asks this. I think I know the answer. Can the main character wear armor and a helmet? I'm guessing no, but to my understanding,
there are cosmetic items.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet there's probably a helmet option in the game.
Okay.
I don't know if they would impact the gameplay at all.
Okay.
All right. So we got one from Pershing here as well. Wants to know, was there any form of player home or hideout, or was it just the ship?
It was just the ship from what I played, but it seems like the cantinas that you're going to be going to are kind of the central hub locations of the game. Like those are almost like your secondary bases.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Any destructible environments? Obviously, there's like the, you can use traps and stuff, but like, are there any cases where you shoot at a wall and it starts disappearing or anything like that?
Nothing like it doesn't get to like red faction levels, but there were a few different destructible pieces of foliage in the world. One of the cooler things I saw was for different like explosive canisters that are in the world, instead of shooting them, you could send nicks to activate them, and instead of it just being like right away it's timed up, you send nicks and then you have to press the button like 4 times before it happens. So you can time things out really well like that, and then it will kind of create some chaos while you're still in hiding.
Yeah, I like I like how it sounds. Everything is, you said there's not really much of a HUD. There's no, a lot of like the mission is just people telling you things. I like that. And you mentioned kind of how the explosive is just like, oh, you got to click a button enough times. Not like, I like how it seems to be. You kind of got to figure it out and just do it rather than Ubisoft games that like I usually assume the opposite, to be honest.
Yeah, that's kind of how I went into it too. I was hoping for the best. I was hoping it wouldn't be like Assassin's Creed Light, which a lot of people were comparing it to. But I do think it like I said, it leans more towards Splinter Cell. I think the open world is a little Division coded, but besides that, it really feels like its own game for the most part.
How do you played the Avatar game?
Yeah, I played like 3 hours of it, and I didn't like it.
How did it compare to that? Because they were kind of the same engine, same kind of idea for the project, right? That was the baseline of comparison. So how different is it from whatever that ended up being?
Extremely different. The Avatar game they just released is just Far Cry with an Avatar skin. This one feels like it takes different elements of different games and kind of combines them.
Okay. Like that was one of my bigger fears with it. Aside from like the usual Ubisoft issues, it was like the Avatar game seemed not great.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of afraid it was going to go that direction.
So from my understanding, this is Massive's A team and Avatar was handled by their B team.
Right.
How do you think reception is going to be?
I could. That's the tricky thing. I really liked it, but and everybody who I talked to that played it really liked it. But you can't really get very genuine opinions out of people at the event itself when everybody is still kind of just enjoying like the fact that they played it.
So when we did Jedi Survivor, like most people enjoyed it, but there was still like the one thing that everyone kept talking about was that performance was a problem, and that turned out to be very true in the final release as well. Was there anything like that that was standing out?
There was only like 2 or 3 major bugs that I encountered in the game that were like big issues where I was just kind of very taken aback that they were going to be in the final release. But as far as major problems like that, it seemed like nobody else was really having it. Maybe it could have been specific to me, but
Well, I don't necessarily mean performance problems by that. I just mean like even in the fun of being at the event, there was like this thing that was an issue with the game that we were all still able to notice. So did anything come up that was seen as a negative, even if it was kind of like tamped
bad
down by the
aiming
experience?
or
oh no,
bad
nothing like that. And I was
Okay.
trying to get a more genuine impression from like the gaming channels that were there rather than the Star Wars channels.
Right.
Just because I kind of had the impression that you're more, if you're a gaming channel, you're probably more in tune to looking for specific things to criticize or have a problem with in the game. And maybe you're just like a little bit more familiar with specific mechanics, and all of those guys really enjoyed it too.
Okay.
I remember with Battlefront 2, it was story. That was like the big thing. Where because we sat and we played through the entire campaign, and back then even people were like, "Oh, they really like kind of misled people about what's going on here."
Was that the
Yeah.
thing where people were upset that they didn't get like an Imperial story?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people assume that there would be at some point like a bit of a change, but I mean, I guess not everybody, but yeah, there were a lot of people even at the event who were not happy with that.
Yeah, that's understandable. It seemed like everybody else was enjoying the story, and like I said, I didn't get too much of the actual main story. We didn't get into the meat of it. It was just like all the early game prologue stuff. But as far as like when I was interviewing the writer of the game and the directors and everything, I asked them all about like, all right, like this is the same time period as Shadows of the Empire. You're playing as a scoundrel. How much did that influence the game? And I was pretty shocked to hear them all say that that was not the inciting point of what they wanted to do with the story. They right away they had the idea to play as a scoundrel, and from there Lucasfilm was like, all right, well, do you want to cover this period of time? And that was kind of where they went from there. So if you're expecting this to be heavily reliant on like Shadows of the Empire story wise or even character wise, it's pretty different.
Yeah, that's I see a lot of people complaining that like Cave S is just a ripoff of Han Solo. Like, y'all never played Shadows of the Empire.
Well, that's
the cooler Han Solo.
That's the other thing too, is I've seen a lot of people being like, I don't want to play as a lame character, which is like, I get it. Or like, why would they make a Han Solo game and take out or not include Han Solo in it? And well, that's just how games work though. Like when you are creating a world, you create a character, and this is the character that they wanted to make and include in the world of Star Wars. So it's just that's what they wanted to do. Everybody is going to want to have their own piece of Star Wars, and a creator is probably especially in this time period.
Yeah, I'd love to play the Han Solo Frozen and Carbonite game. That'd be so good.
It would be like a change, or the game Ilkin sent us last week, where you're carrying somebody on a gurney.
Oh yeah.
You're just Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt trying to carry
the entire game, just trying to like make a gurgling sound. It's a grand triumph.
But yeah, as far as a character, I enjoyed Cave S for what was involved in it. I think being able to actually like pick what happens or choose what factions you're gonna go with is pretty cool. I am worried though, but because this is going to have to fit into the Star Wars continuity, the ending is probably going to be the same as everybody else. It's just the A to Z is going to be the same, but it's every letter in between is going to be slightly different based on what you do. And that was another big thing I really liked about the game that I was kind of afraid about, was the reputation system with the different factions. And I was really surprised to see that it was used very well in the game. There were certain elements where it would be like, okay, well, you have this stolen data. Do you want to incriminate another faction for stealing it, or do you want to like go on and take it, or try and figure out what to do with it from there? And it would actually affect the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Would that just be like a choice that you're making on a menu, or is it based on like, oh, I want it to go this way, so I have to go and do this thing to pin it on them?
So it's a choice in a menu. Like there's a cutscene and it'll ask you like, okay, what do you want to do as far as that goes? But then from there, there was another mission I did where it was like, oh, you need this piece? Well, this faction has it and this faction has it. You have a better reputation with this faction, so they'll let you just walk in the door and you won't have to like sneak around or anything like that. But you may jeopardize your reputation with them if they find out about it. Or you could go and challenge yourself a little bit and sneak into the other faction's stronghold and try and get it that way. So it kind of alters the difficulty a little bit. But then when you're in the stronghold and they find you and throw you out, you lose reputation with that faction gradually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any more questions from your chat, Justin, that you want to pull up?
My question is, if you were to pick one character you think will be in it, who like a pre-existing character, what do you think? And people are comparing the faction system to Mercenaries. I don't know if you've ever played that before.
Oh yeah, it is a little bit similar to Mercenaries. I'd say a little bit more involved.
It's actually a Lucasfilm or LucasArts game. I mean, like, could be wrong.
Yeah, it is, because it's Pandemic who made Battlefront.
Yeah, that's right.
As far as pre-existing characters that may show up, I asked everybody who I interviewed about that, and some of them had very coy answers. Others, it seems like we're mostly going to be seeing underworld figures. So I'd say maybe characters from Solo, expect them to show up possibly.
Yeah, we already know what's her name will be in it.
Yeah, Kira is in it. But I think there's a possibility maybe we might see like some characters from the comics. Yeah. Just anybody who's around at that period of the time involved in the underworld, given how vast the different planets you're going to go to are. Yeah, I see somebody in your chat saying Cad Bane. Maybe he might show up.
If you had to put your money on someone, though, this is usually, I mean, we do this before every show, so we may as well do it with the game as well.
Yeah.
Your one, like, usually it's safe bet and then like long shot.
All right. Safe bet, I'm going to say this one's
not a
tricky.
Confirmed one. That's not fair.
Yeah, I didn't see any characters that weren't yet confirmed when I was playing the game, so this is an absolute guess for me. I'd say Afra, safe bet. Hopeful, maybe we might see them, is Luke Skywalker in between Empire and Jedi.
Insane. Absolutely not.
Well, Tatooine is one of the planets you're going to be going to, and
why the fuck would Luke be there? Why would he want to go back there?
Someone's never played Shadows of the Empire.
He's got to go back to Tashi Station to pick up his power converters.
What does he even go to? What does he even do at Obi-Wan's? I forget. Because he goes...
Wasn't he
builds
getting
his
pieces for a lightsaber?
there.
Yeah.
Is that what he's doing there in Shadows of the Empire?
I think that's why he's there in Shadows.
He
definitely does that before Revenge of the Sith.
I remember that too.
Okay, Dash Rendar. Yay or nay?
No.
I'd say nay, because all of them seemed very firm on the idea that Shadows of the Empire was not an inspiration to this game at all, and they want to keep it somewhat distant.
I hate that.
What even is the character of Dash Rendar other than like
Han Solo? But I made a character. He's not Han Solo. He could beat Han Solo up. He's got
Han
90s
Solo-
pouches.
Yeah. He's buff Han Solo, who gets more chicks, and is even a little meaner. Like he's a little more to the dark side, a little bit. Even though at the end of the day, he still comes through. But then instead, like Han, is total simp, joins the rebellion. Chad Rendar fakes his own death.
Right, Justin, who would your picks be then?
Well, my out there pick will be Dash. It's a good for my likely pick.
And we can't overlap, so what Zach's pick's already off the table.
Yeah. I'll say Cad Bane. Did he say Cad Bane?
He did not. He said Afra as his safe one and Luke as his out there.
I'm gonna say Boba Fett then.
Boba Fett?
Yeah.
All right. When exactly is it set again?
They didn't give an exact like time frame. It just between Empire and Jedi.
Okay. So Han in Carbonite is
We
my
saw
safe
that trailer.
bet. Okay, so never mind on that then.
Max Rebo.
Ooh,
that's possible.
Can you pet the Rebo?
I think Hondo for. I don't know if Hondo is safe or risky.
That feels like a safe bet.
Yeah. I mean Hondo, they like Hondo and everything.
Yeah.
He's got a fucking animatronic. I think Hondo's a safe one.
Okay.
Out there, Prince Shizor.
I think we know. Oh no, do we know Shizor is in it?
Do we?
I feel like we've seen him. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe we just seen a Feline. I think Shizor is a good guess. No.
Well,
you are.
I mean, that would be
woman, so
Shadows of the Empire. So
he could use his pheromones on you.
I feel like that is not something that'll make it into canon. Actually,
no.
I see somebody else saying Lando in your chat. Lando is already confirmed in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh.
Yeah, he was in the last trailer.
Is Billy D voicing him?
No,
I think so.
Is he?
He probably is. I mean,
yeah.
he's in Star Wars Rebels, so
yeah. But I mean, watching his last appearances at Star Wars Celebrations have been.
But I mean, that's different. Like
he is in the game.
In the room for 45 minutes, knock out a few lines, do that for a few days, bam. Okay. Get him on the floor for 4 hours around sweaty nerds.
That's fair.
Somebody else, I saw somebody on Reddit say maybe Sid from Bad Batch showing up again. That's an interesting.
She's lucky she got. That's like 20 years earlier though. If she survives this long, Crosshair's fucking slacking.
I think Sid's dead. I think she might be dead.
Like in the time period of the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Like doesn't make it away from that whole situation with the Empire.
I don't think she does. I think they kill her. Yeah. I think they finish her off.
Is that wishful thinking or
how?
See, well, the one I was thinking of was DJ from The Last Jedi, but he's probably too. He's not. You could have kid DJ.
Yeah, he's probably like 13 at this point.
Benicio del Toro's in his like what mid-50s right now.
You could have like 50-year-old DJ, or sorry, 20-year-old DJ.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah, that was one that I was thinking. Maybe I'll turn that to my out there. I don't know.
Okay, you'll get at least partial credit for it.
Okay.
As far as critical reception for the game, I'm gonna guess it's in the 7 to 8 range.
Okay. We need those games. We need something, goddammit.
Oh, in addition to Bounty Hunter, though, coming out today, second season of Hunters started today.
That's right. I've been getting emails about it.
The security droid character.
Yeah. I haven't played as him yet.
What's this Vader thing I see people freaking out about?
I think it's an outfit for Reeve.
Why are people
Are you
mad?
talking about hunters or
Yeah,
outlaws?
hunters.
I know that there's a cosmetic for Reeve that has her wearing like Inquisitor armor that's kind of reminiscent of like Vader's breather, but I haven't seen any.
Is that it?
Well, the name of the season is Empire Resurgence, so maybe there's something going on there with everybody getting Inquisitor style equipment. Well, I do see Stormtrooper style Mandalorian armor in there too.
Is the map Vader's castle?
I haven't played it yet, so I'm not sure.
Talon card. That would be a great cameo. Talon card. What Imperials do you think will be in it, Zach? Any? Maybe we'll get like a big bad Imperial.
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if they. That's a possibility. I think it's in there. Pelion might show up possibly.
Be cool.
But I don't think they're going to focus too much on the Empire in the game. From what I've seen, it looks like they're going to be more of a nuisance than anything. Most of the enemy in the game is going to be the other factions.
Okay. Well, I think that's all that I have. Is there anything you wanted to finish up with, Corey?
No, I think that's a lot of the questions. We do have one final one from Jittering asking, are stormtroopers competent or joke enemies?
They're really competent when there's a lot of them. If there's just one of them, you can take them out easily.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
Thanks, Zach, for joining us. There's more impressions on the Eckhart Slaughter YouTube channel, and there's some clips up as well, and we'll be putting some interviews up. And then sure we'll have a full discussion of the game. Maybe we'll even do a podcast episode on sometime after the 30th. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
See you guys later.
Bye, everyone. We'll be live on youtube.com/ECKSTOO later tonight.
Yep. I think like 10 minutes.
Yep. That is later tonight.
Yep.